children. Without further ado, let me introduce you to the moderator and panelists for today's forum. Our moderator here is Dr. Nurul Huda Mustafa. She is a cancer research scientist at NUS, and she's also a mother of 2 girls, one of whom is studying in Al-Ma'rif in Primary 1. Our panelists, I'll start with Brother Abdullah Uthman. Please hold your breath. He has 7 children, 4 girls and 3 boys. His first is Rashida Abdullah, who holds a degree in nutritional science from Queensland University. She is currently working as a nutritionist. His second is Zakia, who holds a degree from University of Queensland, Brisbane in Biomed. His third is Nabila, who is doing her first year in NTU, Chemistry and Biochem. His fourth is Muhammad, who is studying for a diploma in sports coaching in Republic Polytechnic. His fifth is Yusuf, who is in JC1 in the science stream of Meridian Junior College. His sixth is Ilyas, who is in Sec 3 of Victoria School. And his seventh is Huda, who is in Primary 6 in our madrasa. Thank you, Brother Abdullah, for being here. Secondly, we have Sister Khadija Abu Bakar. She has 4 children, 2 girls and 2 boys. Her first is Amira Wasila, who left Ma'rif after her O-levels in 2008, who then continued studies in University of Newcastle, Australia. She's now a junior medical officer in Hunter New England Hospital, New South Wales, Australia. And she's also a part-time Quran and Arabic tutor. Her second is Afika Wafia, who did his primary school in Madrasa Al Junaid and then moved on to Al Irshad and did her primary school studies in Al Junaid and then in Al Irshad and then continued her pre-U in Al Ma'rif. She is currently an undergrad in Massey University in NZ, studying for a degree in zoology. She is also a part-time Quran and Arabic tutor. Her third is Muhammad Al-Fatih, did his primary in Wat Tanjung and then went on to Radin Mas Secondary. He is a part-time Quranic tutor and he is currently studying in Yemen. Her fourth is Abu Bakar As-Siddiq, who is a pre-U student in Madrasa Wat Tanjung. He is also a part-time Quran tutor. Thank you, Sis Hadijah, for being here. And last but not least, we have Madam Zainab. She has 6 children, so again, hold your breath. Her first is Dina Aziz, who left Ma'rif in 2008, obtained a degree in life sciences from NUS, currently working as a research assistant in NUS, and also doing her part-time Masters of Science program. Her second is Shakir Aziz, who is in his 3rd year, mechanical engineering student in NTU. Her third child is Nadia, left Ma'rif in 2011, obtained a degree in biomedical science from University of Queensland, Australia. She is currently in her 2nd year of her MD program at University of Western Australia. Her fourth is Muzakir, who is currently doing his NS, and he has a place to read environmental engineering in NUS in 2019, inshallah. Her fifth is Mubashir, who is in the 1st year of Junior College in Meridian Junior College. And lastly, her sixth is Sophia, who is in Primary 6 of Madrasa Al Ma'rif. I hope you got all of that. Okay, without further ado, I think I shall hand over the microphone to Sister Huda, who will be our moderator for today.
Marha, marha.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi ta'ala wabarakatuh. Alhamdulillahi rabbil alamin. Allahumma salli wa sallim ala sayyidina Muhammadin wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. Welcome, dear parents. I feel a bit nervous right now, but I'm trying to overcome my nervousness. Welcome to the first inaugural Maths and Science Forum that's been organized by Al-Ma'rif and the Parent Support Group. Alhamdulillah. Today I just want to share how is it that we need to recognize that math and science are actually math and science developments are increasing at a very fast pace, right? So just to share an example, you all know how your physical characteristics are determined by the DNA in your cells, right? So the DNA says how your skin will look like, how your eyes will look like. So in 1990, the Human Genome Project was started, right? In order to uncover what is all the information that is present in our DNA, so that we can understand the human biology, meaning we can understand how our heart works better, why does it go wrong, and what goes right, and how to improve it. That undertaking started in 1990, and it took about 13 years just to decode a single human genome, because it contained like at least 3 billion bases. So there was a lot of work to do, right? But 15 years later, from when it's finished, right now, today, scientists can basically actually sequence or decode a single human genome in as short as a few hours. So that is how fast science and technology is evolving now. And basically, in order for our children to live and to live well in their age, they need to be able to understand what are these advances, and also as well they need, hopefully we hope as parents that and as Khalifah, that they will contribute to the development as well. So inshallah today the forum format will be as such. We will have 2 rounds. In the first round, we will have the panel speakers share with them what were their aspirations for their children. And it is very nice and personal. It could be related to math or science or not, but they'll share their aspirations of their children and what they think about the math and science field, if any, as well as how they instill the love for learning in math and science or other areas of knowledge in their houses, or in their homes, sorry. Then in the second round, we'll be discussing perhaps the challenges that they face in doing this. So I would like to invite Sister Khadijah, inshallah, to begin.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Dear Principal, Cikgu Saini, Pak Muslim, and the panelists here, and to all the parents, Alhamdulillah. As mentioned earlier by Sister Huda, we are just sharing whatever that we have, all the experiences, inshallah. I hope all comfortable with English or Malay at times, yeah? Okay, inshallah. So santai lah, otherwise kita semua nervous kat sini. Okay, basically talking about aspiration, what I have initially, because I was a very young mother, having children, the first one at 20 years old is quite very young, I can say, at times immature. But one thing that we have in mind is the aspiration for our children would be whatever they do, they benefit others, be beneficial to the ummah. That's the always thing that I will remind my children. And again, another thing will be in whatever they do, make sure they are part of the Quran. So if you can hear just now, every one of my child, they go through at every level whereby Quran is very important. I do not have that typically or specifically science or math as aspiration for them. It's just that because I'm an early childhood educator, I started very young as an assistant teacher, growing with my children in terms of education myself. That is where I see that our children develop differently. Their interests are very much different. We parents cannot tell them what we want them to do or what kind of interest they should have, because that is what our aspiration. So basically, my job, me and my husband would really we encourage our children whatever they want to do. We explore with them. We even learn together with them. So there's 2 things. Both are from the hadith of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. To be beneficial to the ummah, and again those who learn the Quran and teach the Quran are those among the best people. So that's what we do with them, inshallah.
Sorry, I think at this point I'll just flesh out a bit of some of what you mentioned. You said that you expose them early. Can you just share what are the few, like some of the things that you do, maybe specifically with regards to math or science, that you expose them too early? That, you know,
Alright,
goodness.
basically I think my family is very much close to nature. We don't go holidays that far, except for Malaysia je. Being close to nature meaning, you know, we go to the outing like Kota Tinggi is our best place. Kalau sakit je pergi Kota Tinggi. I do not know why, but we have the idea about sakit je pergi Kota Tinggi because of the fresh air, and that's the cheapest. Having 4 kids, and at the same time, zoo is a must every year. It's not something that you should miss out. Even the mom loves it. If the father is very busy, the mother will do the job. You know, so every one of us will do that much. You know, like I said, zoo is the first thing that we go every year without fail. And on top of that, definitely, Science Center is one of our most visited places where, you know, we thought they don't like it. I did ask my son whether you love going to the Science Center, and is that why you have that interest in science? But eventually yesterday he told me, no mom, I do not have that. I hate going to the Science Center. But I still remember he loves running around at the Science Center. Well, you never know what they really like. Yeah.
Alhamdulillah, thank you very much. So, I think your what I guess what you were leaning towards was exposing them to nature and understanding Allah's punya natural life, order and creation, and then through that, maybe naturally they grew a love or for understanding or learning more about how the world works. I'd like to invite Brother Abdullah now to share with us his insights.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Thank you, Dr. Huda.
Mr. Huda is okay.
She mentioned to me that she's doing cancer research. Then quickly comes to my mind, what exactly is cancer research? I mean, I was actually excited to know and how your life would be like from morning till afternoon. What are your activities? And that's my reaction when I hear something. I become excited and curious, and I will get some more information from you. Saya nak tanya lah, di sini ada yang tak faham bahasa Melayu? Anybody who cannot understand Malay? Cannot understand? One. So I'll speak in English. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Apparently the organizers have given me a very comfortable chair. I don't know how to sit. Is it sit straight or lean back? I have a chair like this, exactly like this at home. And what happened is that the chair is being used by my father-in-law. So I don't have the opportunity to sit. And now I'm here sitting on this comfortable chair. Thank you very much. Cikgu Mamun, Puan Nafisa, teachers and organizers. I've known Cikgu Mamun a long time ago when I was in Muiz. We were together with on Madrasah Matters, and I've known Sister Nafisa when we were undergraduates. But I can't remember speaking to you for the 3 years. Can't recall. Anyway, what I'm going to say is something that you may or may not agree, or you may or may not like. I'm sorry if I were to say something that you will be upset, but I think you will like it. I was telling the organizers that they can be quite serious, too structured, which is good. But in life, many of us like things to be interesting, isn't it? Fun. And that goes to studying. We want studying to be interesting, to be fun, and working. How many of us love working? Can I see a show of hands? We love working. We find working exciting, meaningful and purposeful. How many of us do not like working? Yeah. I think many of us, given the chance, we prefer not to work. Likewise, many of our kids, including mine, as far as learning is concerned, to me it's very important that they like it. So it's not as a father, because most of the tough job is being done by the mother. So as father, we just concentrate on the fun time. And but it has to be purposeful. And one of the way, as a father, when I engage my kids, is through games and sports. And how does games and sport relate to maths and science? How on earth that? Because games is basically having, fun time and relaxing and so on. While maths and science can be quite demanding, especially you cannot solve maths problem, or you cannot do the assignment, or you don't do well in the test. And so I believe that learning must be fun, must be enjoyable, must be meaningful and purposeful. And life ought to be like that. So it's working. Working also must be challenging, must be exciting, must be meaningful, must be purposeful. When I was in MUIS, I had a great time working in MUIS with the people from madrasas and so on. Even though I'm not trained in religious sciences, but I make myself keep up to the challenge. So with regards to, if you can just inform me when time is up. Okay. With regards to sports, I expose my kids to sports, and I'm quite, as a person, I can be quite demanding, and I expect them to, to do well, and at the same time to have fun. One example, I like to challenge my kids. There's one, my daughter Rashida. There's one time I challenged her, Rashida, if you jump on this trampoline at home for 1 continuous hour, I'll give you $100. And she did, She jumped up and down for 1 hour non-stop, and she earned her $100. I thought she wouldn't do that. I think it was in secondary school. Another instance, we have this what called hula hoop. So I challenged the kids to go through the hula hoop while I roll it across the room. And they managed to, they failed so many times, So I said, okay, whoever can go through the hula hoop while it's rolling, I give $100. And one of them did it. I don't know how they do it, but so my spirit is that it must be fun, must be challenging, and exciting, and rewarding. And that's what games all about. And so is education, yeah. It must be rewarding. So it's working. It must be challenging and rewarding. So it transcends, studying, playing games, studying and also working. What life is all about. You want to have, to be enjoyable, meaningful, isn't it? So just stop at that in this junction.
Thank you very much, Brother Abdullah. Actually resonates a lot with me. I find that my husband connects best with the children when they are having fun, and that's what fathers are best at, and how they can best bring out learning for their children in the process of having fun. I think that's a very critical takeaway. Well, Sister Zainab.
Assalamualaikum. All the panelists here, Cik Numayun, Madam now, Principal, and everybody, and my husband. Okay, we're talking about aspirations. I don't have specific aspirations for my children in terms of maths and science, but when we got married, we decided that we wanted to build a family and based on Islamic values. So we decided at that point in time we should run the family, and we want to build a family which has the 3 B's. You have the 3 R's, you have the 3 B's. We want them to be people yang beriman, berilmu, and berbakti pada masyarakat. So that became more or less the guiding principle for us in the way we bring up the family up. And also we learned along the way some other stuff. And one of the mantras that we have on our home is also, how do you want to build a person yang beriman, berilmu, and berbakti? You must work within yourself first. So for your own self, you have to try and be good. You have to make yourself good. You have to help make other people good, and you have to make the world good. So basically, to make the world good, you're performing the job of a Khalifa till up. So we have all those kind of stuff that we thought about first and all that. I'm getting nervous, so you can see my voice is funny. I'm kind of nervous. So anyway, so those are the aspirations that we have about family. Okay. Why math and science is important to us and all that? I think everybody knows, the STEM, the importance of STEM, science, technology, and engineering, and math, and all that, and how it links the world and all that. But more importantly for us, the knowledge in math and science is important because there are a lot of such revelations in the Quran which Allah tells us. He asks us to look at how the water, water comes down from the cloud, blah, blah, blah. These are all science. So scientific knowledge that we have will allow us to understand better the science, S-I-G-N-S, that Allah has given us in the Quran. And in the hope that, by understanding all of that, it will make us realize who the creator of this world is, and it will make us better Muslims, inshallah. Okay, so, what do you think helps us in terms of interest? For us, basically, from a very young age, I mean, the question which I'm tasked to answer actually is how you help sustain the child's interest all the way until they're a lot older. But I think that it's not so much what I'm doing for the kids when they're already old, but it's what I've done for them when they're very young. Sorry. It's not what I'm doing for the kids when they're a lot older. It's what I've done for them when they're young. From a very young age, we expose them to a lot of maths and science activities, we bring them to the zoo, like what she said, we bring them to the zoo, blah, 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 blah. And then, of course, there's a lot of reading of books and all that. And we gave them, this is what I feel, we gave them at a very young age, we gave them all the necessary tools to be competent, for them to be able to understand maths and science, or to be able to learn maths and science. So of course we taught them all the 3 R's, reading, arithmetic, maths, and all that. And we encouraged them to ask a lot of questions. It sounds also serious, but actually I do a lot of all this stuff in a form of play. I don't have a specific time when I tell the kids, okay, you must do this, no. Everything we do is all through play. So much so that when I ask the kids now, what did I do for you all last time? They can't remember a thing. They can't remember any formal thing that I taught them. And I even ask them, can you remember how I teach you to read? Or when you learn how to read? They say, no, I don't remember, I just know how to read. Macam as if they were born knowing how to read, They forgot all the efforts that I put in because I made it fun. I made it something which they learn incidentally. I don't make it like a structured thing where they learn, because when you make it structured, the kids are going to not learn, because kids learn best to play. So I do a lot of play and all that, but like you said, it's purposeful play. You have your objectives in mind, you know what you want to do, and then you do it with the kids. So I encourage them, I teach them the 3 R's, I have to write all of this down. I encourage them to ask questions, and implicit in that, I keep telling them it's okay not to know. It's okay not to know, because kids like to ask questions. So sometimes they come to me and they ask questions. And yeah, I know some parents don't like the kids to ask questions because they will feel that, oh, I think the kids think that, I'm not so smart. So they don't like. But I don't. I encourage the kids to ask questions. And when they ask me questions which I do not know, I tell them, okay, I don't know. But let's find out together. And I will bring them to the library, I'll do research, and then now it's even easier, you Google and you get all the answers. So when you do that with the kids, implicit in that is you are actually telling the kids, it's okay not to know. It's fine. Because nobody knows everything. Only Allah knows. Allah is perfect. Only Allah knows everything. The rest of us, it's okay not to know. What is not okay is for you to continue being in a state of ignorance. So that is not okay. So these are the kind of stuff and values that I try to put in the kids. And now lagi, banyak tau. And of course, we always teach them how to solve their own problems and all that. How do we do it? Give you an example. When we're young, my boy mine and the ball goes under the sofa. And naturally, I think most parents would go crawl under the sofa for that. I don't. I say, take off. You want to play? You can take. So he has to crawl, he has to think, and he can't take it because my mathematics not play. So I say, think, But boys, or rather kids, do not know how to think. They actually, when you say think, they don't understand what. So you say, try to take the ball. So they'll take a stick, and then I'm relating this because I'm very impressed with him that time. So he jolok. But the more he jolok, the more the ball goes in. So I said, so what do you do now? You have to try and find other ways to do it. So he walked around, and of course I prompted but I didn't tell him, right? And I said, look around, what do you think you can use, so that you can, instead of pushing the ball in, the ball can come to you. He looked around and then he saw the hanger. They're playing around the balcony, yeah? So he saw the hanger, and then he took and he said, can or not? I said, try lah. Then he tried, and then he put in, and the ball came to him. So this is the way in which, like I said, you teach them things incidentally, through play. You don't have a structured way of doing it. So this is how you think them to think and to solve their own problems. Okay, last point. So basically what I feel is that all the stuff that I did with the kids when they were young and the values that we imbibe in them, these are the stuff which helps to carry them through all the way until adult life. So much so that when they're a lot older, and sometimes in life you have to make choices. Like in secondary school, you are asked to choose. You want to do science or you want to do humanities? You want to go into science or you want to go into Ukhrawi? Those are the kind of decisions they have to make. And I leave the decisions up to them. And sometimes the decisions that they make is not, most of the time my kids go into the science stream. It's not because they have a passion for science. It's not because they're so interested in it that I want to do science. It's not. They do it because sometimes it's the practical thing to do. Sometimes because you don't like doing the alternative, which is humanities, and therefore you do. But I believe that what we have taught them in instilling the love for the liking for the subject when they were young, make them competent people to be able to continue doing something that they like for life. It might not be the passionate thing, but competent enough for them to be able to do, to continue, and to still enjoy doing it. That's all. Thanks.
Thank you very much, Sister Zainab, for your sharing. I think it will help if we have maybe a show of hands. How many parents are lower primary parents? Thank you. How many are upper primary? Upper primary parents? MashaAllah, thank you. And are there any secondary school pre-U parents here? Oh, subhanallah, commitment. Alhamdulillah. So I'm very encouraged by what I hear from all the panelists actually, because they are actually saying, I mean, we all, even though we are not insulated from the current the ways education is being done right now with a lot of hot housing. You know, you have a lot of assessment books to do and etc. And homework is one, and then you have to practice your revision. And I think a lot of parents may feel the pressure on like a term-to-term basis or a day-to-day basis just to keep up with the children's studies. But I think what we are encouraged by hearing today is that the best way they learn actually is when they are engaged, when they have a lot of fun, when so anytime you're thinking on the weekend, let's take out the assessment book this morning, shove it aside, bring them to the zoo, bring them to Kota Tinggi, have a game, have a competition at home. Seriously, because actually, I mean, like, as we know, 20th century skills or 21st century skills involve a lot of thinking. So when you go out with them, you have fun, and then at the same time, you always, as the panelists say, ask questions, help them, encourage them to think. And it's okay if you don't know the answers. We have Mr. Google, one. Number two, we also it's good to let them know that we don't know all the answers all the time. And that is why we are always seeking more knowledge, right? I think maybe I'll take the opportunity now to, are there any parents who would like to interject at this point and ask any questions? Yeah? It can be something very, yeah, whatever is in your mind. I mean, we are parents ourselves, and I think the sisters and brothers who are the panelists have gone through a lot, have raised their children, have gone a long way. It's an opportunity for us to ask them anything we have in mind. It could be related to maths and science or not. I mean, you know their children's fields of studies. Is there anything? The sister over there, thank you very much. If you will introduce yourself.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Sister Arya, and I'm grateful for the sharing by the parents, and most of the sharing is based on possibly what is it that you do with your kids. I'm interested to know actually what you feed your kids with, because I believe also that the type of nutrition, the type of food that we give to our children does have an impact on them learning as well. I'm just curious, yeah, and because I see kids nowadays, a lot of them are very tired, especially when they return home from school. You know, they spend the whole day in school, they come home, they're tired, they got to study, they got to hafal, they got to do so many things. And I'm just interested to find out from the parents on the panel. Thank you. Assalamualaikum.
Thank you very much, sister. That is a very relevant question, especially in today's day and age, where the sources of food are questionable. So I'm going to let our panelists answer this.
For me, it's halalan toiman. As long as it's halal and it's good, that's it. I'm not very specific. Of course, I don't allow my kids to eat a lot of junk food. I know it's junk, but it is, to them, it's a special thing. It's actually junk, but it's actually a reward for them every now and then. But other than that, yeah, I'm not, I don't give a special Christmas ayah nudra or I don't do that kind of stuff. As long as they eat 3 square meals a day, they eat healthy. All my meals will have the normal, protein, carbo, lots of veggies, lots of fruits. Okay, one thing I'm very particular is eating when they were a lot younger. When they're older now, I can control them. But when they're a lot younger, I'm very careful with their intake of sugar. Not because of education reason, but because my family has a history of diabetes. So that aspect I'm very careful about. And to the extent that even until now, when they want to eat chocolates, they'll actually call me or text me and say, "Can I have chocolates?" They will actually ask for permission. "Can I have chocolates?" And I'll ask, "Okay, how many have you taken today? Or how many have you taken this week?" To that extent. Some people think it's micromanaging, but that one I micromanage. Others I don't. Yeah.
Basically for myself, when my children were very young, McDonald's is a no-no. You don't take McDonald's at all. No fast food. And until now, even Amira now, she's in hospital, yet they bring food from home. So bekal tu mestilah, is a must. Even the dad brings food to work, you see. So yeah, they are not ashamed of bringing their own food. They even ask whenever I'm sick, can you make me my bekal or not? No, things like that. So yeah, home food is memang usually we do that. Other than that, I think well, as I mentioned earlier, because I'm in the early childhood line, we go for healthy meal most of the time, but not all lah. I have to admit that. So it's more like bake than fry, things like that. And yeah, salad is always the choice of everyone. Yeah, so they eat even at young age boleh makan ulam, you know that. So people quite surprised. How come these children boleh, you know, at very young age can do that. I think we parents have the power to do all those things. You know, if you want to get your children to eat all those things, actually you just have to start. And if you don't eat it, then there's no other food. You see, so they got no choice. And fizzy drink, yes, we don't drink fizzy drink. Even my boys, especially when we go out, the moment that they step in any restaurant to have their breakfast or, you know, outside food, they will ask for teh tarik. And it was quite surprising because at toddler's age also teh tarik. Orang macam, budak kecil minum teh tarik. So very surprising lah. But then now, like Sister Zainab mentioned, we do not have any control. Sometimes they just cheat us, and you know, it's my cheat day, mommy. It's well.
I'm very fortunate because my mother-in-law is a very good cook, and my wife is also a very good cook, and I enjoy good food. So are my parents, my kids. So we are not at all fastidious about the kind of food that we take, but they must enjoy what they eat, and they must eat sufficient. No hard and fast rule about to fast food or slow food. We will eat food when it is there and to enjoy. So for example, the kids go for taekwondo grading. So every time they finish one grade, we will celebrate with pizza. We go for swimming, we'll celebrate with McDonald's. No issue. But one thing, it has to do with nature and nurture. Nurture is not only with regards to food, it has to do with the soul, kan? How we feed the soul, how we feed the mind, and how actually we nurture the body. It has to be total. It cannot be in isolation. It cannot be, you know, and it shouldn't be too fastidious, too focused on the mind, too focused on the spiritual, too focused on the body, too focused on the, you know, the food. It has to be natural, you know. So we human beings, we have different tendencies. So some like to do this and that. We celebrate lah. Be inclusive. Some like fish, some like meat, some like vegetables. But I think the principle is in moderation. And yalah, kalau teh tarik sedap you. Kalau satu hari satu cakap lah. So we enjoy lah, coffee ke, tea ke, betul fizzy drink ke, tak masalah. Asal betul berpadu-padu lah. And that's my philosophy lah. And my wife, I think I'm not sure whether, because the panelists seems to be quite strict. Yep. Really? Oh, okay. That's my comment.
I don't know whether this was where the sister was coming from as well. Maybe just quickly check whether do you give your children any supplements or anything?
I take supplements.
You
I do, but my daughter, who is trained in nutrition, tell me, Abba, it's no use. You're just wasting your money. But I don't believe her because it's my choice.
No, I noticed this. My parents also seldom believe something when it comes from me, even though I've been trained in the field. It's a very interesting, yeah, it's very interesting actually. Okay, thank you very much. Is there anything else you'd like to ask? I think maybe I'll just, I don't know whether the panelists experienced this, but was there any point where, I mean, I'm sure there might be some point through their learning journey where they were discouraged or disheartened, and and maybe they didn't consider they wanted to go in a particular field, and as a parent maybe you felt that they could still, you know, succeed. How do you cope, or how do you manage such situations when your children feel very discouraged and disheartened and feel like, you know, I just can't do this, mom, dad, I can't do this. How do you help them look forward to learning again?
Okay, talking about how do
you encourage them again if let's say they face, I mean, like, it's very natural, I think, for children if let's say they don't do well in any particular subject to feel disheartened or just to think that they are incompetent. Well, so how do you help the children overcome these feelings?
Alright, I do not know whether I should be happy sharing this, but as part of sharing, hopefully everybody get the benefit out of it. I have 4 kids, and not all have the capacity for academic excellence. My third one, he failed for his primary 3 in madrasah, and pursuing again, that means he has to stay back for primary 3, and then at the same time he has to jump from primary 3 to primary 5 because madrasah do not allow for another staying back. So he took his PSLE on that year he has to take. Eventually he failed again. He ever asked me the question, Umi, am I not clever enough? Am I not smart enough? So as a mother, I think my job basically, because whatever I've instilled to them is, whatever you do, you have to be beneficial to humankind. You have to be beneficial to Ummah. Let's see what else you can do. So he told me, I love Quran. I do not want to get out of madrasah. That was the saddest part because at that time, madrasah would not allow you to stay back. So basically, he joined Radin Mas. Initially, Radin Mas took students who fail. And there's this mindset of, if I fail, I go to Radin Mas. The beautiful part is that he's my first son who memorized the Quran. As I mentioned earlier, it's not that, that I wish to share, but I think we parents must realize that we don't get all smart children every now and then. And probably that is what Allah has given them. That's their capacity. As for my second one, she has a wonderful journey. She didn't make it at the end of Ma'arif for pre-U level. So we see what are the things that she can do. Her interest in science is so much so that during the school holidays or after the O level, she went to SPCA just to explore her interests. So I told her, what do you do there? Mommy, can I walk the dog? So I was quite stunned. Walk the dog? I'm okay with it because you're going to practice whatever you learn as in Islamic religious knowledge. You know how to deal with it. So I think that's part of da'wah. I told her probably that's one good choice, but do be very careful. And at that time, we have this one, if I'm not mistaken, Ustaz Hani was the one who mentioned in the newspaper that how we should, as a Muslim, treat a dog. Not to go away from them, so that we have this religious harmony thing with the rest of the Singaporean. So alhamdulillah, she did that. She was very happy. So I told her again, so how is it now? Where do you want to go? So eventually, she managed to take up at MDIS, pursue her science. Then that is where we see that she excelled a lot in her science. Well, MDIS does not allow you to go to any uni in Singapore. It's very difficult. It's going to be very difficult. But as parent, like I said, there's this, I keep on putting in my children, resilience is very important. In whatever you do, there must be resilience. Academic excellence is another thing. At the end of the day, natija is Allah's hand. It's not in our hand. Whatever we do. So eventually, she went to New Zealand. She got into New Zealand. But before that, there's another journey. Went to Germany for the language because it was so expensive, and so on and so forth. So landed up in New Zealand doing 1 year in zoology. 2 semesters she didn't make it again. So I told her, today I asked her, well, I'm going to tell the parents, are you okay when my mommy telling everyone about you? Well, share. No, I'm happy with what I'm doing. Because I love science. I know academically I'm not inclined, but I still love science. You see my result in MDIS, it was so great. So I told her, yes, you can just pursue. So now she's still applying for another university in Malaysia. Hopefully she will get in. She even asked me, tell the audience to pray for us. No, that's what she told me earlier. And yeah, so our children, when they fail, no, that's not the end of the world. Especially in academic, that's not the end of the world. The education system in Singapore should not bring us down as parents. We should not be so stressed because our children don't make it. You see, so what we need to do as parents is actually to build up the resilience in our children. If you don't make it now, you can still make it later. You keep on trying and trying. I mean, I put myself as in their shoes. I do not. I'm not here. No, just before I got my children, but I grew with them from an assistant teacher, and then I keep on learning and learning, taking a lot of things. I keep on learning together with them. So, which means that as parents, I believe that we should grow with our we should grow with our children. Today, my daughter wrote in an FB, praying for all the parents here in madrasas, wherever you are, applying for primary 1 for next year. She prayed that that you'll get in, but if your children don't get in, that's not the end of the world. And she did mention that the memory that I remembered was Umi and Abi has to attend Arabic class just to teach us. It's also that's the beauty of it. So you go through together with your children. It's not that, okay, you're in madrasah, that's it, I leave you to your teacher, that means you get in, means that's it. You can do everything. No, it's not that. You keep on learning with your children. In fact, up till now, I still call her, Amira, have you done this, have you done that? Have you read your Quran today? Things like that. Even though she's already 26 years old. Yeah. So yeah, so that's how Allahu A'lam.
I think all of us, we have multiple intelligence, isn't it? It's not only cognitive, it's not only emotional, social. We have a whole range of intelligence and capabilities, and whether we have, harnessed it to the best for ourselves and our children. I think it's a great mistake if you do not understand our capability potential, and we do not optimize it. Me, I'm a person who do not accept failures easily, and I'm quite demanding as a person. For example, I'm in Andalus. Asatizas in Andalus, the male, they are required at one stage to swim 100 laps. Lelaki, ustaz-ustaz, diwajibkan berenang 100 laps, which is 5 kilometers, equivalent to about 3 to 4 hours of swimming. What do you think? Do you think it's torturous? At one go, 3 to 4 hours non-stop of swimming. Ustaz.
It's a marathon.
It is. And if I were to ask them, and in fact last year we did 60 laps, 10 of us, and this year we'll go for 100 laps. Initially, if you ask them, say 10 years ago, they say we can't do it. And when we first started 15 years ago, they say, what is this? We are trained as an ustad, we go up mimbar with khutbah, to teach people about religion, we go swimming pool. But the fact that they have been given exposure, and they believe in it, and they prove themselves, and they go for it. Likewise, our kids, sometimes they may fail in certain areas, in their tests or exams, and we say they are, they are no good, which is a big mistake. They may be good in something else. and we must give them the opportunity to develop. One of my daughters, many years ago, in fact about 5 years ago, 4 of them, I told them you have to swim 100 laps. They cried, you know, my daughter Nabila. Midway through they cried. Sabah, we cried in the water. I can't see. And after 3 hours or 4 hours of swimming, then I asked her how is it. She didn't answer me like that. But many years later, Abba, we realized that you push us because you believe in us and you want us to discover our real potential. Sometimes we underestimate kebolehan anak-anak kita. Sometimes kita cepat untuk menghukum, and sometimes we delimit what they can do. So madrasah student and madrasah can do a lot more. A lot more. If we are betul, we have the courage, we have the stamina, we have the will, the belief, the discipline. We can do a lot more. And we can prove to the others that madrasah student and madrasah can excel. And this actually is our challenge, our struggle as parents, as administrators of madrasah, to prove. We need evidence. And this can be done, I believe, if we have the stamina, the discipline to do it.
I'm just going to take the liberty for a while to ask you. It's already 1 p.m. But I think we have already. I mean, we are enjoying gems from our panelists. If you don't mind, I would like to hear, or I would like to let Sister Zainab also share her own gems. Is that okay? Can you wait a while more? Okay, thank you.
Yeah, I have 6 kids, and all the kids are different. They have different abilities and all that. And the job of a parent is always to ensure that you try and develop the child to their maximum potential. And it's very important for me. You do not compare. Other people can compare, and the child will be disheartened, and the child will come back, and the child will tell you. But your job as parent is to give the child the confidence, to bring the child up to their maximum potential. Why I say this? My eldest daughter is, I'm in a dilemma. I don't want to say, but then I think I have to say. Okay, my eldest daughter is a high flyer. She did very well at O-levels. I hope you all don't take it as me being sombong. I have to share because there are lessons to be learned. She's a high flyer. I think she was the first student from a madrasah who taught the O-levels on par with the students from the academic field. She's got 9 A's and 7 A1 and 2 A2s. And she was a debater. If you remember from the arena last time, she wins competition in hafalan Quran. She's completed the hafalan, the Quran and all that. But she's a high flyer, and because of that, the rest of the children, it's like a double-edged sword, really. It's for some of them it becomes something that they aspire to, they want to emulate. But I think for the one who is immediately below her, sad to say, he develops a certain what's the word now? Yeah, a bit of an inferiority complex, because he always feels that he cannot measure up to the sister. Second child syndrome, second and third child syndrome is another one. He feels that, especially because the sister is a high flyer. So I made it a point from very young, from when they were in primary school, not to compare the results. I made it a point because it's not fair. My daughter is here, so-called, her results is against 60 students. But my son is against 400 students, So to compare and say, oh, she's first, why are you third or fourth? That's not going to be fair. So we decided from very young age that we're never going to compare. And we do not wait for the results before we reward them. We reward them for their efforts, which is consistent in the Quran. The Quran reward you for efforts. You know, whether you are able to dakwah to someone and the person convert ke tidak, that's not your job. That's all your job. But the fact that you've done it, you get the rewards for that. So it's the same. We apply the same principle. Every time after the exams, we don't wait. Straight away we reward them. After exams, I will ask them. You know, so one case in point recently, my primary 6 girl, at the end of exams last year, she came back from school and she told me, you know what, I showed them, it's not some of my classmates are not happy. So I think why? Because she said all of them, after exams, they got a result and they were all comparing, they were all complaining or they were afraid to go back, they were afraid to tell their parents, you know, that they didn't do well and all that. And they were asking her, so what did your mother text? So she showed them the text that I showed her, and the text was, come back quickly, I'm waiting for you, you know, after school, let's go out, we go and makan. We go and makan, we go and buy books and all that. So they were saying, not fair. You know, all our parents are, the first thing they ask when we come out from class is, what's your results? You know, the first thing they ask is, what's your results? And your mother is saying, when are you coming back? I want to bring you out for a treat. No, but I feel that sometimes you overemphasize results to the extent that you actually make the child afraid. And that is not good. Because when you make the child afraid, if the child is afraid, the child will not be able to actually learn. You must be able to let the child learn at their own pace. Of course, you must guide them along, you know, but you have to let the child learn at their own pace. What's more important for me is to imbibe the values for the child. You have to tell the child that it is not the results, it is the learning process itself which is important. The learning process, the learning journey, and what you do with what you have learned. That is the important thing. It is not getting first. I never dua for my child to be the first in class or the top student. Because there can only be one first. There can only be one top. But you can dua for a child to, you know, excel. Because that's wide open. Everyone can excel. You know? So what you aspire, what you dua for and all that, you will have an impact on the child. I know my son failed also. You know, he failed to JC1. And of course he put the blame on us because at the end of O-levels he wanted to go to a polytechnic. He wanted to go to polytechnic. Okay, and this is where, you know, sometimes as parents you have to weigh between allowing your child to make their own decisions, pursuing what they want, and you knowing them better than they know themselves. Sometimes the child think they know themselves. You know, they're 17 and they're bigger and taller than you, they think they know better. But actually they don't. Because as parents, sometimes you know the child. If I know that if my child had gone to polytechnic, who would have been the kind who don't go for lectures, you know, and all that. So he needs a certain kind of rigidity in his schooling. He needs a certain kind of regimental kind of thing, which in junior colleges they have, but in polytechnic. So we insisted, we say no, you go junior college. You know, so he was upset when he had to repeat his JC1, but after that eventually he studied, he passed, and now I think he's reasonably happy because he has been exposed. He followed my husband on one of his working trips on board a kapal, and then he decided, yeah, I like it, I think I'm going to be an engineer. You know, so sometimes as parents, we cannot be too lax and allow our child the freedom to do whatever they want. It has to be a guided thing. It has to be a guided thing.
Inshallah, jazakumullahu khairan. I'm afraid if I summarize the points, I won't do justice, you know. I've picked up some very salient, important things, including, of course, especially the fact that there are many paths, there's many ways to get to the end point. Some journeys are shorter, some journeys are longer, And the salient point is that we need to nurture our children to be resilient. I think sometimes we are living in Singapore, and at the end of the day, education, I mean, like, if you look at scores in terms internationally, Singapore is supposed to be top in math and science, if I'm not wrong. And so the culture in Singapore is that kind of culture, you know, that you are like really very, that the academic push is very strong. But I think that, and this is something that I actually learned in research, because as much someone has commented to me before, you know, what do you know about failure? You went from secondary school to JC, to university, then you got a scholarship, to a PhD. Which part of that is failure? But in fact, I fail a lot, almost every day, every week, every month when I do my work, because the essence of research is that you have a hypothesis and you keep testing it, and it doesn't work 90% of the time. And when you fail that often, you do feel demoralized, and it's not like something you're immune to, but it is the resilience that you want to move forward. So sometimes maybe I like the example where also, like, Sister Hadija's daughter loves science, or she has a passion for something, but it might not necessarily be academically excellent at it, but she still, you know, she goes on to paths to find where it is she can find something that she enjoys, but at the same time, and I'm sure, inshallah, one day she will find something she excels at, because this is just how it is, you see. If, let's say, you just keep on going, you will finally find something that that Allah has already chosen for you. And so my mind is like, oh, so many things in my mind. I've also a lot of points from Brother Abdullah and Sister Zainab as well. So I hope today we have managed to somewhat encapsulate the topic about instilling the love for math, science, learning in your children. This is just our first episode, inshallah. So we welcome your feedback. If you have any, please give your feedback to us directly, or to the Al-Ma'rif teachers and principal. We will, inshallah, meet again. Is there any other last burning questions? Okay. Anything else? If not, you are most welcome to come down and speak to the panelists. I'm sure they have a lot of gems to share. Sister, I think we will end the session now. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Alhamdulillah, I'm losing my voice after days of preparing for this event as well. I hope you parents have gained a lot of knowledge